On this episode of China Uncensored, copyright infringement is the sincerest form of flattery. Hi, welcome to China Uncensored. I'm your host, Chris Chappell. Oh, what's that? You've noticed my new Apple Watch? Yeah, she's quite a beaut, isn't she? But here's the best part. While all you suckers out there paid at least $350 for one, I got mine for just $48. Technically, it was 300 yuan. See, I bought it online from China. It works great. It even syncs up with my iPhone. I got mine in white. Now, I know what you're thinking. Wow, I want to buy all my stuff from China too. But if you aren't a discerning consumer like me, you can run into some problems. China is full of knockoffs. In Chinese, they're called Shanzhai, which literally means mountain stronghold. You can learn about the origin of that phrase here on Learn Chinese Now with my friend Ben Hedges. Now, when it comes to knockoffs, it can be pretty hard to tell the difference. For instance, which of these is the real one? Probably the one with the extra L. Fortunately, you've got me to warn you. So here are the top 10 Chinese knockoffs. Number 10, video game consoles. Now I know you kids like to play video games, but if you were in China, you might have had a hard time of it. For 14 years, video game consoles were banned. That ban was only lifted at the beginning of 2014. So let's play a game together. Guess which one is the original? The Sega Dreamcast or the Dreamcast? The Wii or the Wii? The Xbox or the arcade game box? That's weird. They knocked off the look of the Xbox with the PlayStation controllers. Not as good though as the Polystation. Looks like a first-generation PlayStation in a Nintendo 64 box, and even though that bit on top looks like it should take a disc, it actually uses something like a Super Nintendo cartridge. Number 9, cigarettes. China manufactures 2.5 trillion cigarettes a year, and about 1 in 7 of them are knockoffs. It's such a lucrative business that Yunxiao, a county in southern China, has more than 200 underground counterfeit cigarette factories. And by underground, I mean literally underground. Now these knockoff cigarettes look a lot like the real things, if you go by the branding printed on the boxes, except they can contain 80% more nicotine, 130% more carbon monoxide, and the occasional insect egg or human feces. Number 8, sportswear. Why spend a small fortune on Puma when you could buy Numa, Tuna, or Pig? And why buy Adidas when you can buy Adidas or Avivas? Nike when there's Nair or Hike? Calvin Klein when clearly Calvin Klein or Calvin Kernel are just as good. But remember, after a good workout, be sure to clean up with some OK shampoo. Number 7, Disneyland. China's knockoff version of Disneyland anyway, called Wonderland. It's sort of like the original, except instead of being the happiest place on Earth, it's the creepiest place on Earth, with weird nightmare versions of iconic Disneyland locations like Crazy Mouse, the Epcot Center, and this rabbit that wants to shoot you. Fortunately for the mental well-being of all Chinese children, the Wonderland theme park was never actually opened. Construction was abandoned in 1998 and it was finally demolished a couple of years ago. Number 6, Google. Who was to fill the shoes of Google after it pulled out of China over censorship issues? Why, Goujet, of course. The name is meant to be a tribute to Google actually, but that doesn't make it legal. It also rips off the paw print graphic from China's largest search engine, Baidu. And like other Chinese search engines, Goujet is willing to censor its search results. Number 5, fast food. Yes, China has enough troubles with fake foods. Fake eggs, glow-in-the-dark pork, donkey meat that was actually fox meat. No, seriously, that happened at a Chinese Walmart. But then there's knockoffs of famous brands like Pizza Hut, Sunbucks, McDonald's, OFC. Wow, that's wrong on so many levels. Well, at least this Apple store looks like it has something good to eat. Number 4, fake Apple products. Speaking of Apple, almost every product the real Apple makes has a fake Chinese counterpart. from iPhones to iPads to the iMac and Apple TV, even fake Apple Watches. Siri, do you know anything about fake Apple products?
Hand machine, not hereof, fake Apple.
You sure don't. But it doesn't just stop at products. Even Apple stores themselves have been knocked off. And they were pretty good too, down to employee clothing and interior design. Number 3, cars. Why buy a Range Rover when you can buy a Landwind for a fraction of the cost? Or spend a small fortune on a Rolls Royce when you can buy a Geely GE? Now you might be wondering, how can Chinese car makers get away with this? Well, it's basically impossible for a foreign company to successfully sue a Chinese company for intellectual property theft in China. In fact, IP theft is partially a state-run affair, which brings us to number 2, the J-31 jet fighter. According to a 2009 US State Department cable obtained by WikiLeaks, hackers in China's People's Liberation Army stole parts of the design for the United States' state-of-the-art stealth fighter jet, the F-35. And then, a few years later, China rolls out with this, the J-31. Somehow, this isn't as cute as a Starbucks knockoff. And now for number 1, the future of cheap Chinese knockoffs. This is Ninebot, an obvious ripoff of Segway. Segway had actually sued them for stealing their design. So, how was the situation resolved? In April this year, Ninebot used the money they made selling their knockoff Segways to buy the original company's Segway. And now, no more lawsuit. So, is this the future of all Chinese knockoffs? What do you think? Leave your comments below and be sure to subscribe to get notified about new episodes of China Uncensored. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. See you next time. This war is called hybrid warfare. This U.S. Army white paper from last year states that People's Liberation Army Colonel Qiao Liang has already laid out a vision for how China will attack the United States through military and non-military tactics. The first rule of unrestricted warfare, he says, is that there are no rules, with nothing forbidden. No rules? Nothing forbidden? It's like you think you're playing football, but then...
Let the games begin!
These days, everything is made in China, and Chinese people have become great at faking stuff. This is called Shanzhai.